What's up, Jets Nation, and welcome back to another episode of the Juicy Jet Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Rooney, and we are here to talk about and recap. We're not going to recap for a long time, but recap the New York Jets getting absolutely embarrassed, crushed, demolished, whatever you want to talk about. We got squished by the fish, 34-10. The Jets fall to 3-10. The Dolphins go to 6-7. They've won 4 in a row, I think 5 of 6. So Dolphins are on a heater. But, oh my God, what an embarrassing showing for the New York Jets. But don't worry, we got hyped up with our rivalry jerseys. We got the field looking cool. We had 100-plus alumni of the Jets come back to watch the team go down 21-0 in the first 6 minutes. What an awful performance. It was so embarrassing. I couldn't believe what I was watching. All the goodwill that this team had with me feeling good about Muji, about Glenn, about the way everyone across the team was playing. The people we traded for are playing. Tyrod's playing. How the defensive line's been playing. How the receivers play. And it all just disappeared in about 6 minutes. It was unbelievable. So I'm not going to talk long about this game because I don't want to. I want to spend a lot of this episode on tanking. Because obviously with this loss, it puts us back into tanking position because, if Brady Cook's going to be our guy for the next couple games, I want to talk about what that's going to look like going forward. But let's talk about this game. It starts with the defense. They did not come out ready to play. That is 100% on Aaron Glenn, 100% on Steve Wilks. Right away, the first, I think it was 3 plays, the first drive for the Miami Dolphins, march right down the field. Linebackers, nowhere to be seen this entire game. I don't know where Sherwood is. It's like they're 10, 15 yards downfield before they're even engaging and with the person that they're trying to tackle, and they can't get off a block. It's just impossible. They can't tackle. The entire team, we must have had 10 plus missed tackles yesterday across the board. It was just embarrassing. And, you let up the big drive right away. I think in 8 plays, we were down 14-0, or maybe it was 8 plays, we were down 21-0. I don't think the Dolphins had a third down until the third quarter. So this defense was just absolutely abysmal. And I think the worst part about this defense is, well, actually, there's a couple worst parts. One, I'm really disappointed in a lot of players. Jermaine Johnson, nowhere to be seen. Will McDonald, nowhere to be seen. There's just no pass rush. I know Will McDonald's going to finish with probably 10 sacks this year. He got 4 of them in one game. It's like Dylan Gabriel and Aaron Rodgers is where he got all of his sacks. Jermaine Johnson, I know he's been dealing with injuries, but come on, man, you're a first-round pick. Like, where are you? You're just nowhere to be. Michael Clemens is playing better than both of them right now, and he's one of the worst players on our defense, which is absolutely crazy. I can't take Jamien Sherwood anymore. It's really tough to watch because he's just nowhere to be found. He's got a lot of tackles, but they're 10 yards downfield and they're assisted tackles. There's no tackles for losses, none of that. Quincy has been so up and down this year and feels like he's one that's going to be on his way out just because his contract's up at the end of this year. Plus, he got benched earlier in the year. Safety play is all over the place. Isaiah Oliver was a mess. I can't watch him anymore. Malachi Moore has an interception right in his hands, then off his foot. Doesn't catch it. I don't know what happened there. And I think this is the thing I'm most disappointed about. We are still continuing this entire process of no turnovers. We have no interceptions through the first, what are we, 3-10? 13 games of the year. We're breaking records, and we have 1 fumble recovery. And that is it for our defense. It's just embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Now I'm hoping that we are so far to the other side of the mean where, accidentally you should be getting some turnovers. We're so far away from that. Hopefully we're just saving up all the good juju for next year and it turns right around and we start to get a bunch of turnovers. But, man, it's like, so how is that possible? So for me, this is 100% on Aaron Glenn not getting the team ready to play. And Steve Wilks, he's got to go. The fact that you can't get any turnovers, this defense is just porous. And I get it. We don't have the talent. We don't have the players, all that kind of stuff. But there are good players on this team. I like the D tackles. I like Phillips. I like Briggs. McDonald and Jermaine should be good, and they're just not playing well at all. I feel like Quincy should be good, but he's been so up and down this year. I like Azareye'h Thomas and Brandon Stevens. Brandon Stevens got beat for a touchdown. I like Malachi Moore, but he hasn't played great. Jamien Sherwood, we paid a bunch of money to. He should be good, but he's not playing great. So it just seems like everybody's gone backward, and that's not what you want. On the offensive side of the ball, offensive line couldn't get any push. Brees couldn't get anything going. Obviously, you see Tyrod go out with a groin injury. He's always hurt. We knew this might happen, and we got to see Brady Cook. First play, Brady Cook takes the snap, fumbles, picks it up, luckily, and is able to get the play off. Later in the game, he ends up fumbling. gives the ball back. We're driving down the field. We're starting to get some momentum right before halftime. He throws a nice pass down the left sideline, pass interference. We get to move up. We're in field goal range. So now we can make the game. I think it was 24. It would have made it 24-10. So you're kind of back in the game a little bit. And he throws a pick in the end zone because he just chucks it up. And it was just a horrible, horrible decision. And I get it. He's put in an impossible spot. He's never had any reps. He doesn't play with any of these receivers. These receivers are brand new to the team. But and he's thrown into his first NFL game as an undrafted free agent. But, man, you can't make a decision like that. I think he throws the ball way too hard. And there's so many moments he should have had a touch pass on some of these, but his receivers weren't helping him anyway. I think we had 6 drops across the team. Mason Taylor had a bunch of drops. A.D. Mitchell had a bunch of drops. Mechie dropped another walk-in touchdown, which would have put us a little bit closer back into the game. So, I mean, it was just an absolute disaster. If you want one good takeaway, it's our special teams. Special teams is now officially the greatest special teams unit of all time by DVOA, which is absolutely incredible. Austin McNamara, every time he punts, you're probably downing it inside the 5. Isaiah Williams, every time there's a punt kicked his way, he's returning it for a touchdown. Every time there's a kickoff, Kene Nwanwu and Isaiah Williams could return it at any moment. They are the core pieces of points for our team. And then on the other side, you've got Quantez Stiggers, who's the best gunner in the game, who should be in the Pro Bowl. So special team, and Nick Folk doesn't miss. He's missed one time this year. He's automatic. He's unbelievable. So this is the greatest special teams unit of all time. Chris Banjo, I give you a ton of props. But, man, I'm really upset about this game because it just felt like one that, once again, I don't care if we lose. At this point, we started off 0-7. Like, it's okay if we lose. But the way we lose, like, this is one that shouldn't happen anymore. We should be competitive against the worst team in our division besides us, the Miami Dolphins. And the fact that Mike McDaniel was able to just kind of run the ball starting in the second quarter because the game was over is just a joke. So we will never be a good team if we can't win in our own division. And right now we're on pace to be swept by the entire division again this year. And we had the same problem under Saleh. We had it under Bowles. We had it under Gase. It's just the same problem. We can't beat our own division. And now, obviously, with this loss, I know that the season was already over. We knew this already. But it's official that we have extended our playoff drought to 15 years. We are officially eliminated from the playoffs this year with 4 games to go. It's just embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. Like, what are you going to do? The team is just, we can't win. We just don't know how to win. And it's going to be another one of those seasons where after losing that game, and if we have to play Brady Cook, like, I don't know, maybe we win one more game. Maybe we go 4-13. Is that 13, 4? Yeah, 17 games, right? 4-13. Maybe we go 3-14. It feels like 3-14 is what's in our sights right now, especially if we keep playing Brady Cook. So, man, it's tough. You know, luckily there's only 4 games left, and then we just get to focus on the offseason and be the offseason champs that we always are. So, with that, I don't want to talk about anybody else in this game. I really don't care. The game's over. The best player was Isaiah Williams. You can give him props. You can give who else do I want to give props to? Austin McNamara, Nick Folk, every other person. Oh, my God. One more play I got to talk about. My guy, Mykal Walker. He's a linebacker. He's on one of my fantasy teams, which is like a very, there's a 32-team league. You get defensive players, all that stuff. It's crazy. It's a wild fantasy league. The guy has a pick 6. It's on like the 2-yard line. Tua just tosses it up. He's got a pick 6 in his hands, and he just drops the ball. It's like a walk-in. It is such an easy touchdown right in front of us. And, of course, he just drops it. So, once again, you just can't make plays. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. See, look at this. Jamie Sherwood, he had 15 tackles, only 6 of them solo. It's nuts. It's like, come on. Man, frustrated. Isaiah Oliver had 9 tackles. You can't have our safeties leading the team in tackles. It's crazy. All right, let's talk about tanking. So obviously, the Jets, everyone is like, you're either on one side or the other. I want the team to win, or I want the team to tank. And for me, I'm on the team. I want the team to win side. And obviously, when you lose like that, it's like, okay, well, at least the draft position improved. Well, fun fact, the draft position did not improve. We are still 7th, even after losing, so nothing changed. But the good news is a bunch of teams shuffled around underneath us, which make it a little bit easier for us to move ahead of them in the draft order as the weeks go on. So what I want to do for the next 5-10 minutes is just go through the teams ahead of us, some of their schedule upcoming to see where we could potentially end up. Now, first it starts with us. We play a red-hot Jacksonville Jaguar team, which is leading the division, and we actually need them to win the division so the Colts don't. Now, we'll talk about the Colts, but that game, I just don't see us winning. I think it's going to be really tough with this quarterback conundrum up in the air. So I don't see that happening. The big game is Jets-Saints. So the Saints won this weekend to go to 3-10. We are also 3-10. The problem is we are always going to have the more difficult strength of schedule, which means we're going to have the worst pick because we play more teams that are better, which means you're not as bad of a team. That's the way that they structure the draft order. So if you play worse teams and your record is bad, you're the worst team. But we have a bad record, but we play better teams. Therefore, we're a little bit more down the line. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 teams that are 3-10. We're 4th out of the 5 of them because our strength of schedule is 541 and the Browns, for example, is 486. So we have no chance of competing with them. And head-to-head does not matter in this. So the next game we have, so we got Jacksonville. I'm calling that a loss. We play against the Saints. That's going to be a really interesting one for the tank. If someone's got to win that one, and they're going to be out of the top 5. Whoever wins is definitely out of there. So that's going to be a really interesting one. And then we've got the Patriots, who are obviously fighting for the division, and the Bills, who are fighting for the playoffs in the division. So I don't expect us to win any of those games. So it's really the Saints game that's going to be up in the air, and you never know. Like, obviously, anything can happen. It's the NFL. Trevor Lawrence could break his leg in practice tomorrow, and then we somehow are able to beat the Jaguars. But I doubt it. So I think that's the big thing is the Jets, they could go 3-14. Now, let's look at the teams ahead of us. Giants have the first pick, which is insane. Giants with the first pick, Vegas with the second pick, Tennessee with the third, Cleveland with the fourth, New Orleans with the fifth, the Commanders with the sixth. If you look at those teams, there's really only a couple that need a quarterback. Giants don't. Obviously, they have Jackson Dart. Vegas is going to need a quarterback. Tennessee doesn't, unless the new regime doesn't want this quarterback, but I think they do, so they're going to stick with Cam Ward. Cleveland, you got to pray that Shadur Sanders plays great, because then maybe they stick around with him and they don't take a quarterback, which would be really interesting. New Orleans, they need a quarterback, but if Tyler Shuck keeps playing well, maybe they don't take one. But I think they will. And then you got Washington ahead of us. Obviously, they have Jaden Daniels, who's just been hurt, and they're going to stick with him. So let's go through these teams. Let's go through the Giants' schedule. Let's see what they got coming up. Last 4 games, Giants play the Commanders. So one of those teams has to move out of their spot. I'm kind of hoping I don't know if it really matters, but if we look back at Tankathon, the Giants have a 534 strength of schedule. We have a 541, so we're close enough where it could shift over time. But I probably want to just get Washington out of the picture and move us up to 6. And the Giants, we could trade with them to move up. So that's the thing. But let's look at the rest of the Giants' schedule. So they play the Commanders, the Vikings, who also stink, the Raiders, who also stink, and then the Cowboys. So 3 teams that are in the top 10 of picks right now between the Commanders, Vikings, and Giants. Giants got to win a game. They got to win a game or 2 in there. Or the opposite happens where the Commanders jump out of there or the Raiders jump out of there because they play the Giants. So that's going to be really interesting. Then you look at the Raiders' schedule. So they got the number 2 overall pick. By the way, all these teams are 2-11. Giants, Raiders, and Titans. Everyone else is 3-10 that we're talking about. So the Raiders, they go play the Eagles, probably a loss. They play the Texans, definitely a loss. They play the Giants, maybe a win. And then the Chiefs, probably a loss, depending on if the Chiefs are in it or not at the end. So I don't see the Raiders winning many games, maybe one against the Giants, but that's it. So they might be stuck at 2-11. They are in the prime spot for the number 1 pick and potentially one of these quarterbacks. Tennessee, they do not need a quarterback, but they play the Niners, the Chiefs, the Saints, and the Jaguars. So Titans-Saints becomes a massive game as well. Saints are really like in this position where they play a lot of really bad teams and they can move up and down this board really quickly. So that's going to be a really interesting one. Let's take a look at Cleveland. Cleveland plays against the Bears, the Bills, the Steelers, and the Bengals. Tough games all around, but they've got a good enough defense that Shadur could get hot, where he played a little bit better this past week, where they could beat a team like the Steelers. They could beat a team like the Bengals. I don't know. The Bears are pretty solid, so I don't think they beat the Bears, and the Bills they're humming right now, so I don't know if they beat the Bills, but you never know. You just never know. And hopefully they just don't pick a quarterback. That's the big thing. All right, let's go to the Saints' full schedule. We already heard their name a couple times when we were calling out some of the games they play. They play a lot of terrible teams. They go Panthers this weekend at home. They play the Jets at home. They play the Titans on the road, and then the Falcons on the road. Falcons are also terrible. Titans are terrible. Jets are terrible. Panthers, division game, you never know. I don't know. That's a team that can really jump up these rankings here and get out of quarterback range. And remember, we have the best arsenal out of everybody right now because even the Browns, they have 2 first-round picks, but one of them's with Jacksonville. So Jacksonville looks like they're in the hot seat to win the division at this point. So that's going to be a really late pick. Well, Indianapolis is falling off, so we might have a better pick there, but we're going to talk about that. And then finally, the Commanders. Let's look at the Commanders here. Commanders play the Giants, so someone's going to win that game. We'll see. They play the Eagles, the Cowboys, and then the Eagles again. If the Eagles have to rest anybody, that Week 18 game might be interesting. Cowboys will be interesting if Jaden Daniels plays. And then, of course, the Giants. Someone's got to win this Giants game this week. So they might be out of this running here soon. So the Jets could pretty easily fall right back into the top 4, top 3 with a couple losses here. That Saints game is the one that just hangs in the balance. Do they win the Saints game or not? Now, the really big news this past week. So obviously, like for me, I'm still rooting for them to win, but if they lose, I'm not going to be mad because we're just going to move up the board. Now, the really, really big news this week is the Jets obviously traded Sauce Gardner for 2 first-round picks. Sauce Gardner's played 1.5 games, and now he's hurt now for a couple weeks. But Daniel Jones just tore his Achilles. The Colts are in a downward spiral. I think they've won 1 game since that Sauce trade and are now 8-5. They're on the outside looking in terms of the wild card slot. So I need them to keep losing. If they keep losing, our pick can go from, we thought it was pick 27 earlier when we made the trade. Now it's pick 18. They have a gauntlet coming up. They play the Seahawks with who knows who's going to play quarterback for them this week. It's going to be Riley Leonard, the old Notre Dame quarterback. They play the Niners, the Jaguars, and then the Texans. That's 4 of the best defenses in football in 4 weeks. Could be a disaster for whoever they decide to start. So the Colts can really tank. They finish the season. What are they? They're 8-5 right now. Some of these other teams are going to win. Like Baltimore's going to win some games. Kansas City's going to win some games. Detroit's going to win some games. So that's just going to drop Indianapolis down pretty far. I don't know. Imagine this gets in the top 15. That's a really great move for us. So very excited to see how that lands. And obviously, I don't want to root for anyone to be hurt, but he's hurt. So, what are you going to do? I'm just hoping for them to lose. And then the other team that we got to root to lose is the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, obviously, we don't have a first-round pick for them this year, but we have a second-round pick for them this year. So we still want them to tank so we can get a good mid-round second pick. And if we need it in the arsenal to trade up, we can use it. So we've got the Cowboys play the Vikings, the Chargers, the Commanders, and the Giants. Honestly, all games they could win. Honestly, all games they could lose. The Cowboys are very up and down. They've been playing a lot better lately, so I think they beat the Vikings. They probably lose to a team like the Chargers. I think they beat the Commanders and the Giants, but it depends on if Jaden Daniels is playing quarterback, and it depends on if they sit anybody at the end of the year. So I'm not as optimistic about them, but we'll see how it goes. But as you can see, the tank is rolling on. It's rolling forward. The New York Jets could be sitting pretty, or we could be sitting around 7. And if we win a game, you're putting yourself in the pick 10 range. Luckily, the only teams behind us are Arizona at 3-10, Atlanta at 4-9, and Cincinnati at 4-9. I see Cincinnati winning a few other games, and then we're kind of in a tough spot with Arizona and Atlanta. But luckily, Arizona has a worse strength of schedule than us, or a harder one, so therefore we'd be ahead of them. And Atlanta, man, Atlanta traded their first-round pick to the Rams, so the Rams are just probably having a party, seeing that they're going to have a really early first-round pick. So that's it. I wanted to go through all this because there's a lot to root for. So even if you're I'm so done with the Jets, this team sucks, these are all games you can be watching and rooting. The other thing, too, is I'm going to be rooting for a lot of these teams that are on the bubble or already in the wild card in the AFC to keep winning. So the Chargers play the Eagles tonight. I'm rooting hard for the Chargers to win because the more teams that stack into that wild card, the farther down Indianapolis moves. So we want Indianapolis to keep moving down the rankings so we get a higher draft pick. And then you can turn your roster around real fast. You get a quarterback and a receiver, and you don't have to trade up or something like that. Whole different ball game. And then that means an earlier second-round pick, too, for us. So there's just a lot of good stuff that can come out of this. So while the game was extremely embarrassing, I never want to see these uniforms again, even though I think we might. And it was one of the worst showings we've seen all year. Luckily, we had decent weather. It was a little cold, but it was nice and sunny. for December, what was it, 7th? So, yeah, I walked away angry, but whatever. It's football. Season's already over. And the 15-year drought rolls on. So thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope this was a little bit different where you can talk a little bit about the tank stuff and some other teams. Maybe we'll continue to do this as the season rolls on because there's probably not going to be a lot to recap amongst these games. But I, unfortunately, will be headed down to Jacksonville this weekend. So if anyone's going, please let me know. I doubt you're going, but maybe if you live there, let me know so I have a place to go and some people to hang out with. But if you can follow me across all things, JuicyJet25 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. If you could like, rate, subscribe, review, follow, all the good stuff, that would be amazing. I appreciate the time. Thanks for listening. And I was going to say go Jets, but we suck. So see you later.